Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a review on a foundation, so I thought while I'm in the middle of trying to see how this wears, I'm going to do my Q&A video that I have been promising you guys. I have done one of these in the past. I am sure I'm going to repeat myself or maybe not elaborate as much as I did in the previous one. So what I'm going to do is link that down below, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and sneak a peek. I've got some screenshots on my phone here, so I'm going to be reading your questions and then answering for them for you guys. So the very first one is, when did you get into motorcycles? And what did you do before makeup? So motorcycle wise, growing up, I was that teen that was dating guys who had R1s and I would be on the back of them, and I don't know why my parents let that happen because my rebellious butt would be on the back of one of these, not driving, but 16 years old doing 130 miles an hour down the interstate, because when you're 16, nothing's gonna happen to you, right? Luckily, nothing did, but I always liked riding with somebody. And then Puffin and I got married. He wanted a motorcycle. I was like, yes, absolutely, you should have one. He got one. I rode with him all the time. And then I just I think it was like 3 years ago, I was like, I want my own bike. And he was like, he kind of looked at me sideways like, yeah, right, okay. He did not take me seriously. Literally, I had to yell at him. I was like, if this was you and you wanted something, you would have taken off of work. We would have already been down there. And I think he thought that I was kidding. So he was like, fine. He's like, we're going to go. And I was like, okay. And we went the very next day and I came home with a motorcycle. I had never ridden one before, and Mama drove that thing from the city an hour and a half away and drove it home. And that is how my love affair started. And my very first bike was a Harley 48. What did I do before I got into makeup? Now I know I really got into detail with this in the last video, so I'm gonna make this one short and sweet. I was really into interior design. I was painting, I did all these things, and I messed up my shoulder. So the very first surgery I ever had on my shoulder, I tore everything in there. I went back to doing interior design stuff, and I didn't know that if I did repetitive motions that I would stretch out the repair. I had to have surgery again, and we'll talk about this later. But basically, I think that if I had not hurt my shoulder, I wouldn't be into makeup as much as I am now. I think it just led me down this path. I've always been artistic. I used to get in trouble as a kid for wearing makeup. Like I would have to sneak it out of the house. But it was a back and forth relationship with me. And then there was this one time where I went to Ulta and I had my makeup done, and it was just like done. And then MAC, my first time going into MAC and having them do my makeup, it was just like this eye-opening experience. But I'm telling you, if I hadn't have messed up my shoulder, I would have been doing the inside of houses, not the outside of faces. How did you and Puffin meet? Puffin and I actually met online. It was an old site called Zoosk, and it was attached to Facebook. I'm not sure if that site still exists. It's very old, but it's funny because like I was dating. I'm not one of those that just will settle down for absolutely anybody. So I was dating a few people, and when I saw his profile pic, I remember thinking he looked like a serial killer because he's a big guy. He is 6'4", he's 250 pounds, and like he was under this light, so it was casting a weird shadow on his face. And he doesn't like to smile for pictures unless I'm like picking on him. And yeah, so he looked really creepy like a serial killer, but I almost didn't go, and I'm so glad I did because really I was just hungry. I just wanted some food. I was like, free food, why not? Serial killer, it's all right. But we met on Zoosk, and it's been history ever since. This is a really good question. I like this one. It says, I'd like to know how you're liking Nordstrom versus MAC and anywhere else you've worked. So I'm just going to basically put this Nordstrom versus MAC because everywhere else I've worked hasn't been in the makeup industry. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and then interior design, I showed houses, like stuff like that. But Nordstrom versus MAC. So for me, MAC was what got me into makeup, what made me learn the majority of what I know. I credit them with so much, but that was a one brand thing. You have sales goals, and I still do now, but I didn't make commission then, but I felt more pressure then than I do now, and ironically, like, my goals for Nordstrom are higher than they were for MAC, but it's because I'm a stylist and not just like one person in a brand. So with MAC, that's one brand. People come in, they know exactly what, they want, or at least the brand they want, because they're coming into MAC. Versus Nordstrom, I'm a beauty stylist, so I am not brand loyal. I do not have to sell, all this or whatever. I have to spread out the love, but I'm not inclined to go sell that Clinique mascara. You know what I mean? I like working at Nordstrom so much better, and that's no shade to MAC. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for them, but I like that I feel like I can be honest. And I was honest at MAC too, but like, if I wanted to suggest a different primer or a different foundation because this person I knew what they could, you really needed that luminous silk, but I couldn't tell you that. I hated that part of it, and I feel like I outgrew MAC. And with Nordstrom, I'm not behind a counter. I am running around all the place. I get trained on every single brand, and for me, it is so much more fun. But I liked MAC a lot whenever I was there. I wanted to be the trainer. Kind of glad that didn't work out because I'm kind of obsessed with my job now. Do you have some kind of connective tissue disorder? You seem to break/dislocate limbs rather frequently. I'm sorry for that regardless. It must be insanely painful, blah, blah, blah. I love you. I don't know. To be completely honest, I don't know. And I know one of the next questions is going to be, what did I do to my shoulder? Because not everybody knows, so I'm going to answer these together. I do not know if I have a disorder. I've been told about ELDS or something like that, some kind of syndrome, and there's different kind of variations of it. I do know that my joints my doctor used a specific term for it and I've already forgotten what it is. Basically, I'm like double jointed everywhere. Most things just kind of do what they want to do. Like my thumb, somebody mentioned that the other day and I laughed so hard. They commented, said, your thumb is really double jointed. I was like, I couldn't figure out how they figured that out, and then we had this whole conversation. But yeah, my joints, my elbow, I don't know if you can see, there you go. You can see it there. Like I can twist my whole arm around, my hips dislocate. I've had several knee surgeries because of like just all kinds of things. And as I'm getting older, it is catching up with me, that's for sure. My shoulder, as I said previously, I dislocated it a long time ago, tore everything in there, had to have surgery, had to have another surgery because I stretched out the repair. And it just keeps dislocating over and over and over again. And a few months ago, I was swimming and I was pushing with my arms because I don't kick with my feet as much. And when I pushed, my arm dislocated and it hurt like hell. Like it was one of those that just hurt more than all the rest of them. And then from that point on, it absolutely would not stay in. I remember I was letting someone smell my perfume. I put my arm out and my shoulder like down. And it's embarrassing. Like people are like, oh my God, are you okay? What just happened? I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's good. So I might have some kind of condition. Honestly, I don't know. I've never been checked. All I know is that I am extremely double jointed and my joints hate me. So I think I kind of answered also what happened with my shoulder. I just had a Bristow Latarjet. It was an open procedure, and oddly enough, yesterday I was in the hospital again because I had blood clots in my arm. Woohoo! I can't ever just have something go normal. This is gonna be the longest video ever, you guys. I'm so sorry. So another question on how me and my husband met. Told you guys that the first date we went to the movies and to Chili's, and then parents, siblings, just everything they said. So obviously I have two parents and then I have two brothers and two sisters, and then I also have stepbrothers and sisters, but like in my family, like who I grew up with, it's two brothers and two sisters. Somebody asked, how about your holiday wish list? I'd love to know what beauty gurus want for the holidays. Personally, I am asking for Best Buy gift cards. I know that sounds crazy, but I want a new camera lens. I would like to be able to get a little closer, maybe a little bit more clear, and that takes some money, and it's like putting my money into equipment or putting my money into products, it gets a little bit difficult. So I'm like, I would love to have a new lens for my camera for Christmas. That is what I want. How did you learn to apply makeup? What did you take into account when applying makeup on others? How do you know what colors to put together from large palettes? So how did I learn to apply makeup? That was mainly YouTube and MAC. So I had to have a general knowledge of makeup before I even went into MAC. And most of it, like, it was Jaclyn Hill. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I watched her videos all the time when, like, back in the day when she was at like that little table and she used a whole bunch of MAC. I learned a crap ton from her. And then I mastered my skills. I haven't mastered, I'm still learning with everybody else, but got better with my technique at MAC 100% because they have certifications and all these things you have to pass, which is one of the big things that I respect about MAC. And like, if you're going in there and you're getting your makeup done, they've been certified. What do I take into account when putting makeup on others? I like to listen to you. That is going to be the biggest thing for me. I want you to tell me what you want to look like, what your battles are. I'm going to ask you, okay, if there's one or two things that bother you the most, tell me what they are because I want to make them better for you. For me, if you're doing my makeup, my under eye and my pores are what I am the most concerned about. So I'm going to ask you those type of things. I'm going to ask you about your skin type. Are you oily? Are you dry? What kind of look do you like? Do you want full coverage? Do you want like all these things? And then color-wise, I'm going to look at your hair, your eyes, and like your skin tone. If you are very yellow and then you got brown hair and stuff, I'm probably going to use warm tones on you unless you say, I really like to go with a cool tone look today. So I look at those kinds of things and I ask a ton of questions when I'm going to do your makeup. I never want somebody to come to me and end up looking like a carbon copy of me unless they wanted that. I see that all the time. It's just makeup and they look just like the person that they did. I'm like, well, did you even ask them? It's a huge pet peeve. So I always ask a million questions because I want you to look like the best version of you and how you want to look. Does that make sense? How do I know what colors to put together from large palettes? The good thing with a large palette is basically if it's a palette, they're going to have colors that usually are all going to correlate. This Natasha Denona is right in front of me. So initially, I'm going to pick out a transition shade. Like today, I'm using the top middle. So I'll pick out a transition and then kind of go with like what I want. I knew that I wanted a like purpley smoky eye. So I picked out the two biggest things for me are going to be what I want on my lid and what I want on my crease. So even if you want to start there, do your lid and your crease and then complement them. So I'm like, okay, well, I want my crease to be a little bit deeper. So I want it to be not as deep as the lid, but deeper than the crease, than the transition. And then I knew I wanted an outer V, and actually I took two of these shades on my finger and I put them up to my eye and was like, well, which one looks better? It's hard to explain, but that's like my general thought process. When do you think you will be back at Nordstrom? I am supposed to be like the majority of this healed by mid-December. But there's one complication to this. Right before this happened, I fell at work. I've spoken about this before. My meniscus might be torn. I wear a brace on my knee. I am going to have to go get a scope to see if it's torn. If it's not torn, I should be back in December. If my meniscus is torn, I am going to be going from disability with my shoulder to workman's comp with my knee, and if a meniscus is torn, that's 6 more weeks. So I don't know yet. I am hoping for mid-December. You guys, cross your fingers for me because I get stir crazy in this house and I miss you guys. How long have you been married? We've been married 7 years. We know you have 4 kids. Did you give birth to all of them? Names, ages? Do your girls love makeup too? Do you like to cook, bake? Besides makeup and motorcycles, what's some of your other passions? Okay, we're gonna go through these one by one. No, I did not give birth to all 4 of my kids. I gave birth to 1, but they are all my kids. I have raised them all. I potty trained them all except for 1. I taught them all how to ride a bike. I have them all except for every other weekend. So I have been there. Like even in the beginning, when I had 3 in diapers. I don't suggest that to anybody. I was a stay-at-home mom. Like, I truly raised these kids, and I will never use the term stepkids because they are mine. They're my kids. I share them, but they're my kids. Okay, and then names and ages. Landon is 10, Emma is 10, Ethan is 11, and Cadence is 13. And Cadence likes makeup. Emma is kind of like me, doesn't care anything about it, but she's 10. And I'm actually thinking about doing like a little video with Cadence so that she feels like all special and stuff. So you guys let me know if you want to see a video with Cadence, like us getting ready. Because she has a little bit of makeup. I might let her do a little bit more for the video, but not like outside. Do you like to cook or bake? I don't like it, no. I don't know why. I used to, like when I was a stay-at-home mom, I cooked every meal except for like breakfast was definitely cereal. I'm not a big breakfast, like eggs and stuff, no. But I don't really like it, no. Besides makeup and motorcycles, some of your passions, tattoos. You guys don't even know how much I miss getting tattooed because of my knee replacement, so I know that's going to be a question. Yeah, I totally cheated recently and I got a B in the inner part of where part of my blood clot is. This was, I want to say like 3 months ago or so. I had to, but I miss that. Tattoo is definitely a passion. I really like gardening as well. I love to be outside. Actually, I love the lake. A lot of the non-girly things, like if I had a 4-wheeler, that would be amazing. But yeah. What's your favorite way to just chill? That's my motorcycle. 100% that is what I like to do. Get on my bike and just cruise. What are your favorite types of movies? I like a variety. I love thrillers. And then I love like comedies and stuff. I like a lot of things. Just, I don't like anything that is like bone crushing or like too much fighting where like it hurts. For me, when I go see a movie and like they're breaking kneecaps and stuff, I feel like I feel that pain all over again because it's happened to me. So I don't like to see those. So yeah. Do you use anything to make your lashes grow so long and full? If so, what is it? Now, I've talked about this a few times. I started off using Latisse. I actually have a video out there if you'd like to see how that is. And now I'm using New Lash. You can get that at Nordstrom, and that's how I learned about it, was at work. It's cheaper, it works the same, and it doesn't have the side effects of Latisse. Favorite movie? I love Cruel Intentions. I don't think I have one favorite movie, but I love Cruel Intentions. I love The Other Boleyn Girl, Crash. Those are the few just off the top of my head. Oh, and I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I love them. Favorite guilty pleasure food? Like cheesecake. Ooh, cheese. I love cheese. What celebrity would you love to meet? Rihanna. Rihanna. How did you get interested in tattoos? I've heard people say it's addictive. This is kind of funny because growing up, I grew up Mormon. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I grew up Mormon. And my very first real boyfriend got a huge tattoo on his back. I almost broke up with him. Yes, I almost broke up with him. I told him if he got another one that we were done. I thought tattoos looked like human coloring books, but to be fair, back then, tattoos, at least the majority of them, were not as good as they are now. I got one tattoo on the back of my neck when I was 18, and then I got stars on my ribs, and I'm an artist, and I just fell in love. I don't think they're so much addicting as it's just a lifestyle that you grow into. When I grew up and had my own opinions on things, I ended up really liking tattoos, and I know they're not for everybody, and I tell everyone, make sure you really want them, and make sure you know what kind of job you want. I tell my kids this because I'm like, do not get a tattoo until you're 21. If you wait until you're 21, I'll pay for it. And then B, don't get them where you can see them until you know what you want to do. Because if I all of a sudden want to be a doctor, well, then I'd be SOL. But I always knew that I wanted to do something in art, even with interior design. No one's gonna be mad at my neck tattoos, you know? What are your top favorite high-end and luxury brands that are worth the price and that aren't? That's too much to go into. I'm just gonna give you my favorite luxury brands. Tom Ford, Chanel, La Mer, and I'm going to say Natasha Denona is luxury because her prices are crazy. So I'm going to add her in, and those are the ones I would think of right off the top of my head. How did you decide the nickname for your channel? Haha. Okay, so Puffin, this is actually a long story that I'm going to make really short. I call Puffin because his name is actually Eric, and when we were dating, he was one of the first people I've ever dated that really worked out, and he's not like ooh, I'm a muscle guy, but he just likes working out. And when he would come home, he looked puffy, like swollen, and I remember saying it to him one day. I was like, oh, you look puffy. I was like, ha, you're puffin'. And he's been puffin' for forever now. Now, the not so cute way of how I came across my channel name, it started with Instagram, so it was my Instagram name. I kind of had like a little stalker kind of situation, nothing too major, but enough to where I deleted my Facebook, and Facebook was drama anyway, I need to get rid of it. But I didn't want to be found very easily, and I didn't want my page to be on private either, so my nickname, like Puffin calls me Kitten, and I was like, I can't put Kitten on there, and it's going around. I was like, Puffin's wife. And there it came. Alrighty, that is it for them, and if you stuck around, kudos to you, you're awesome. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!